I've had a full day to think about what was said on the Diablo 4 development live stream on October 4th. I've reviewed comments on Twitter, Reddit, and the tons of comments on my videos. And overwhelmingly, it looks like the player base has walked away from that stream with the feeling that, whew, thank God, they finally fixed a lot of the problems with Diablo 4. In this video, we're going to dig a little bit deeper than that, and we're going to look at potentially what the roadmap looks like for Diablo 4 in the upcoming year. I hope you'll stick around. See you on the other side. So, we're going to do that by looking at this scorecard and kind of talking a little bit about every single topic. And I'm going to give it a grade that I feel represents the current state of the game today. And to me, these are the qualities that have to be in the game in order for the player base to come back in full force. And that is number one, endgame content. It's a big bone of contention with a lot of players, including myself, that Diablo 4 lacks endgame content. There needs to be more. And today, as everyone knows, and why over 90% of the player base has left, this is one of the contributing factors that the endgame in Diablo 4 is redundant. You're doing the same thing over and over. You're just doing nightmare dungeons and hell tides over and over. Boring, repetitive. In order for a game to be digestible, the end game content needs to feel fresh. It needs to be diverse. So end game content is something that needs to be improved in Diablo 4. Of course, when we're talking about any video game, quality of life is very important to the player base. So quality of having good and a lot of quality of life in a game only is beneficial to everyone. So quality of life improvements. Class diversity. In the action RPG genre, class diversity, players play certain games just because of that. Why is Last Epoch getting so much praise? It's because of the diversity in the class system that it has and how you can customize it. So a video game with class diversity is only that has great class diversity only increases its chances of being popular with a player base. Class specialization. Again, you can almost tie the two, but it's about customization. Players want to feel like they have control over how their character feels, looks, plays. So having these two in a video game only lends itself for it to be more successful. And of course, you can basically lump all three of these together. Itemization, being able to customize your gear, put attributes or skills that you want to play or your character to have. These are things that are important to gamers. And lastly, diversity in game. And what I mean by that is people don't want rinse and repeat when it comes to playing a game. They don't want to do the same thing over and over. They want to have diversity in how they grind to the end game, how to get to the end game. They want to have diversity in how to get to the meta with their gear and weapons. They want diversity. They don't always want to be rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Of course, inherently, there is some rinse, repeat in games, but overall, they want to be able to switch it up and do different activities in the game, but still whatever they're doing, they want to feel like there's a purpose to it and there's a result to it, and their hard work and effort eventually will pay off. So they want diversity in the game. Of course, I didn't put it up here, but of course the most important is players want to have fun when they're playing a video game. They don't want it to feel like it's a job. So I put this up here and I thought about, okay, we've now had half of the new updates with Diablo 4 that's coming in season 2. That's the October 4th live stream. On October 10th, we're going to get a lot more updates on probably 3, 4, 5 specifically. We're talking about class balances, what they're going to be doing with vulnerable, overpower, and crit. Like, this is all stuff that everybody feels are major changes are coming, right? They're balancing it out. So you have to understand this report card is as of today, because on October 10th, I'm going to assume this may or may not improve. Specifically, the middle of this list, okay? But I'm talking as of today. So Endgame content. I went ahead and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grade what I feel, and then you guys let me know if I'm wrong, and give me your opinions. But Endgame content in Diablo 4. There's no one that's going to be arguing with me on this grade. Endgame content in this game, it's an F. Unfortunately, there's no diversity, none. We are doing the same thing over and over, and I'm going to repeat what I said a couple of minutes ago. Playing Diablo 4, and it's the reason why I stopped, unfortunately. Playing Diablo 4 feels like a job, not an experience. I'm currently playing Diablo 2 Resurrected, and I probably have like 20 hours in the game, and I've been live streaming it on YouTube, and those 20 hours that I've played has felt like maybe an hour and a half. I never felt bored. Now I understand it's my first playthrough, and I got like young hours in the game. I totally get that. But the game is just sucks you in, and you don't feel like it's a job. Like, the game sucks you in and you feel so good playing it. And I feel like I have a purpose when I go out in between acts. Like, I'm currently in nightmare mode, but there's always a purpose when I go out to explore, because I know the next drop on the ground could potentially be another upgrade to my gear. In Diablo 4, when you hit 65, 70, there's nothing that you're looking forward to drop. Nothing. So endgame content needs a huge, huge improvement. Like, it's an F right now. Quality of life improvements, I gave it a B with the new fixes that have come with quality of life improvements, but I still think there's a lot that they can do. But definitely after October 4th, the quality of life improvements and just the quality of life in Diablo 4 in season 2 is going to feel a lot better than season 1. So definitely a huge step forward with what they did with the stash, the mount, us going into the dungeon right away when we go into nightmare dungeons, and not spawning outside and then have to spawning inside. The fact that we don't have to backtrack as much or anymore in the nightmare dungeons, and I can go on and on with, but there was a lot of improvements. I just raised a couple. It's a huge step forward. Great job by Blizzard on this, but there's still more that they could do. But I graded it an F so far. That's what it looks like. Class diversity in Diablo 4. Now, I gave it a D because I think there's still more room for classes to be different in Diablo 4. Right now, everybody uses the same skills, for a lack of a better term. Okay, yes, each class looks different, feels different, but there is room for class diversity to be improved in this game. They, you know, I've played all the characters. They all feel great. They all feel good. But I still think I gave it a D because I still think they could do more to make it really feel special. Now, class specialization, we don't. I gave it an E. We don't have that much maneuverability when it comes to specializing our classes. Number one, if we want to ever respec, it's too costly. It's not something that we could change on the whim. It's just way too expensive. And I know they addressed it a little bit, but they still need to go a long way when it comes to class specialization. They're like the skill chart. You know, it is what it is, right? There's no moving. Okay, we got the Paragon board to kind of we can specialize in that way, but you know, I really think there are better systems out there. I think players are and again, I bring up D2R. Um, you know, they're looking for that kind of system where you are in full control of your gear by with the ruins that you're putting on the gear, and you can customize it. And that's the kind of step that Diablo 4, I'm not saying to copy D2R, but I'm just saying a methodology standpoint, that's the kind of mindset they need to think about when they're talking about specialization for our classes. And that also goes with itemization, right? And itemization, there isn't any in Diablo 4. Sorry. You know, there just isn't. And I gave it a minus F. Like, I can't, like, F is the worst grade, but I even put a minus because there is no itemization in Diablo 4. And players, you're confined to a box, I guess is what I'm saying. When I'm talking about 3, 4, and 5, we are confined in a box when it comes to customizing our character, okay? Let's lump them all together. We are confined. We're restricted. There's no room to breathe when it comes to the look, the feel, and how our character looks and feels in the overworld in Diablo 4. And that's a huge no-no in my mind. And the diversity in this game is an F. Now, they have taken a huge leap forward with adding the 5 bosses in season 2, and now giving us different methods of grinding and vis-a-vis leveling from 70 to 100 instead of just doing nightmare dungeons and hell tides. Now we can target farm bosses, but guys, let's unpeel the onion here, okay? Even the new system that's coming in season 2, there's repeatability there. You know, each new boss requires certain materials. Those certain materials are only gained from running a certain task in Diablo 4. Okay? For example, one of the bosses, you need to run Nightmare Dungeons tier 30 or above, because that's where the material will drop in order for you to go fight that boss again. Another boss requires you to run hell tides. You get my point, right? So I suspect that people over time, although there's more things to do, the repeatability of someone having to do the same, for example, if it that one boss that you want to target farm the uber unique for, or the unique, is the one where you have to do the nightmare dungeons tier 30 and above. You see where I'm going with this? So they're basically going to have to run nightmare dungeons tier 30 and above over and over and over and over and over and over again. Even the new method that they've introduced, which is huge, A plus update, no one's going to deny that. Huge step forward. It's season 2 is actually going to feel good, I believe. Okay? So huge steps forward. But I'm talking long term here. Okay? Like what a game should be, like polished game, okay? That's the standard that I'm this grade is being graded against. That's what I'm looking at. And so this is what I graded it right now, and only time will tell. Look, October 10th, they're going to be addressing 0.3, 4, and 5. So these grades could drastically change. God, I hope so. That'd be amazing. But I don't know. Time will tell. Only time will tell. But I do have one more point to make, and this is something that speaks to the roadmap. Like in my intro, I said, we're going to dive into what I suspect is going to be the roadmap. And I just want to say, my track record's been pretty decent. If you go back and you watch my videos, I made a lot of predictions in Diablo 4 that have come to fruition. So I pride myself in making these kind of statements. So here goes. I really think, and you know what spurred this on? I've gotten a ton of comments on my Diablo 4 videos, a ton. And there's a huge part of the player base that's never going to come back to Diablo 4, and I don't blame them. They're entitled to it. They're over it. Too little, too late is the theme, right? And then we have the other side where they're just gonna wait and see. Some people believe the game's not going to be fixed till season 4, season 5, so they're gonna wait. They're watching from the sidelines, and they're gonna jump in when they feel the game is where it needs to be. Okay? And then there are players that I'm coming. Season 2 looks amazing. I'm in. And I'll be playing season 2. But long term, after reading all these comments and thinking about it, I really think Blizzard, the way they're going to play this, they are not going to address number 1 and number 6. So better end game content and diversity in the game, and other more things to do, fun, making the game fun, basically, right? Making the game grindable, making the game where you have overnighters playing the game. You know what I mean? That kind of game where you can't walk away. There's just so much to do, right? Number 1 and number 6, I suspect Blizzard, they're going to tie that, unfortunately, to the expansion, guys. It's just it's just hitting me in the face. It's so obvious that endgame content and diversity in this game is not going to be addressed or fixed until the expansion. And we already know, it's been said by Blizzard, that expansions are coming in this game yearly. They're coming in yearly. So that takes us to just about right before the summer of 2024. Okay? And that is, what's that? Season 4, season 5-ish? I really think that's their play. They're going to have to justify this $60, $70 price tag, Remember that. This is why I feel this is going to be a little bit of a long haul for us to get to the place where we really want to be. Because at the end of the day, you can have all the quality of life improvements in the game. You can fix classes. You can balance the classes. You can do all that. Great. Everybody's happy. You go into the game and you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over. That's where you hit number 1 and number 6, and players will walk away. So I suspect number 1 and number 6 ain't going to be fixed until the expansion. And the reason that is not because they can't do it. It's because they have to justify the cost of the expansion. Anyway, that's it. I just had a full day to think about all this stuff and kind of, I always think, okay, what does this mean for the short and mid and long term? And it just hit me in the face. They made drastic improvements. A lot of people are coming back. A+ on all the stuff that they did. Just looking at that. But long term, it hit me in the face, man. Endgame content, diversity in game, ain't gonna get fixed until the expansion. They want to save the big bang for the money. So we dish it out. Anyway, let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I off my rockers? I would love to hear it in the comments section. And guys, we are this close to one of my goals on YouTube, and that is to have 1,000 subscribers. I'm like this close. So if you could help me achieve that goal, I would really appreciate it. If you could subscribe to my channel for more Diablo 4 and more content, I would really appreciate it. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.